Hey, hi Smita.
How are you?
Good, I'm good. How are you?
Very good actually. And as I was waiting for you, I was actually going down memory lane to some of the projects that I had done when I was in my Rara activist days. And yeah, and I'm really excited to have you here with me.
So
So
I'm
I have read so, sorry.
I'm just as excited.
Great, good. So I have read so much about you, and I'm sure most of the viewers who are coming in here also know a lot about you. But Smish, I would just like to hear from you as to how is it that you've started on this journey? Like, where has this art and protest and everything, how has it come together for you?
So I was never supposed to be an artist. I have a background in art. So I kind of deviated from architecture and then I got into design. And then in 2019, when the national election, I was like, I need to do something so about this, what I'm feeling, this, emotions. Started to make illustrations and post it online, which were political in nature, social in nature. So that is when I began, and I've never looked back. Uh, it was an expression that was so valuable to me that I was empowering at the same time. And it was great that people could connect to it. So that really keeps me going, and it is what kept me going even then. So.
So I just wanted to talk a little more about your voice. Like, what were you actually, what were you trying to say? Who is it that you wanted should hear the voice that you were putting out over there? Just talk a little more about that.
Okay, I was actually looking for, honestly, like, when I started out, I was looking for um, people with the same kind of ideas and same kind of. I wanted to find people and connect with people who think the same way. I just felt that I wasn't alone when I started because of the reaction and the appreciation that I got. I just realized that I wasn't alone feeling a certain way, and it kind of uh, I found a great support system in a lot of artist friends that I now have. So I keep doing what I do is because I feel like the other narrative is so strong and so broadly propagated within the masses that uh, like the kind of uh, things that I want to talk about is getting sidelined. So which is why I wanted to push it more and assert myself as a woman, as a feminist, as a person who kind of uh, I I I don't know, I can't stand discrimination on the basis of certain um, uh, you know I just there's some things that I that really piss me off, so I wanted to find support were like-minded and supported me, and in that process I feel like I found a community of artists and people who support my work, so that's been great.
Brilliant, brilliant. So your medium was what? What was your medium primarily? I mean,
So my medium was, I started with something is I started doodling, and then I had an iPad and I started making art on that.
mm-hmm.
There's a sorry, app called Procreate, um, so which is what I use to make you know um, illustrations. And that's when I started, and when I started off it was very basic, but then slowly and steadily I learned a lot and got better, and yeah.
Brilliant, because in the end, it is the voice, it is the idea, it is the drive which really matters, because that's the message, that's the conversation that you want to get out over there, and want people to start talking about it, right? So where do you get, I mean, one thing you told me that it's anger and it's resistance that really drives you, because you cannot stand certain things, and then you feel that you really need a voice to go out over there. So what else is your inspiration? I mean, what inspires you to come out and make a statement and take a stand?
I think constantly as a person also I'm trying to hone empathy within me, and with
Mm.
that I also evoke empathy as I hone empathy in myself. And I feel like we've come at a stage and we're living in such times where we are becoming more and more apathetic. And if I can through art generate some kind of even 1% of empathy in people, that would be an achievement for me for certain issues. And um, so I think that in like my approach would be either evoking empathy or kind of taking a dig at the establishment, which is um, not really pro people, and to just point out, like making, like either like really profusely um, criticizing the establishment, making fun of it, or all of that comes into play. So I have different approaches when it comes to creating art. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what I go with.
Brilliant. So, I mean, if I, this is a favorite question. I love asking this to everybody. But if I was to ask you that what are the three words that would define you? What words would you choose? I mean, I'm assuming empathy would be one of them, but which are the other two that you would choose? Or maybe all three?
Um, I think empathy, I'm still honing it. I would say uh, cynicism is something that
Mm-hmm.
I deal with. I'm very cynical, and as an artist, I'm more passive than, uh, you know, I'm very abstract and passive rather than
Mm-hmm.
being very direct. So I think these are the
Mm-hmm.
three words.
Why would you, I mean, I love this, because I mean, on one hand I'm like looking at your posts, and I'm looking at the ideas, and I'm looking at the energy over there, and you're talking about yourself as an abstract passive artist. I don't understand.
I mean, in person, I take a lot of risks with my art. Like I'm a
Yeah.
risk taker when expressing myself, my thoughts, and my artwork and everything. But I feel like as a person, I'm very peaceful, and I don't like conflicts. And I know only how to express through either poetry or art. So any emotion that I'm feeling, like even if it's anger or it's disagreement or anything, I would think first in the form of an art, and either in a form of art or poetry, rather than like going head on with it as a person. So I'm changing that about myself, obviously. I mean, I tend to be over polite as a person, and art gives me the strength to express myself more in a more empowering way. So how I'll describe myself.
So whatever you're overcompensating here as a person, you're kind of using your art to kind of demolish those
Yeah.
structures that you've created around you. Very nice, lovely. Do you remember any poem, anything that your favorite lines that you have composed, you've written, you believed in, anything like that?
uh,
I'm a big one for poetry. Like you name poetry for me, I have to hear it. You know, like now, now, now.
I've not memorized my poetry, so I mean, I can wait. I can. Mm, I don't know if I have it.
Anything.
Okay, so this is a poem called Disparity. It's very short. So it's
Hmm.
called Their day was made all thanks to me. I gave her a 10 rupee, her rural humble plea. Then came another little she. All of those three, smiling back at me, couldn't believe their luck, clenched in their hands, a mere 10 rupee each. I felt a sudden pang of distress, such despair. Those baby girls were so moved and happy. How could we be so worthy for a whole great 10 rupee? As the red light hit green, they stood there and waved at me, with their once defeated hands hungry, rejoicing in misery. I waved back, responding with a smile, hollow and shattered. The thousands I spend daily on urban vulgarity.
Yes. Yes, very strong. And we create such a barrier between us and them. We make it such an us and them. We hide behind our glasses and our rolled up windows. And yeah, at some point, I will share with you the work I made about bringing home those that we consider the other. You know, how is it that you bring them into your kitchen? How is it that you bring them into your house? But at some other time, when you talk to me about my work. So I want to ask you about your exhibition. Your latest exhibition, I've been told, is called Pati Patni or Woke, and this
Yeah.
is where you're looking at intimate partner violence and you're looking at the expected roles that women have with regard to marriage, you know, and all the inequalities that are there within this institution of marriage. Just talk to me a little more about that. Tell me the whole journey about why you came to this particular thing. How did you make it, and what was the response that you got?
So, my journey and my introduction to this topic and looking at marriage as an institution has been since I was a kid. I mean, I have seen really pathetic marriages around while growing up, and I had too many examples to draw inspiration from, like around family and friends, and for this exhibition. And I feel like there's so many stories untold, and because of this shame that we're living with, that we can't really talk about certain things, and we hide behind this shame of, or this honor of, or this prestige, or this status that we as women are like uh, made to kind of protect and take forward. So I feel like I wanted to, even though I'm not, you know, you know, I, I'm not married yet. I'm 33, but I'm not married. But I've had enough examples in front of me to like really reconsider this as an option for myself. Um, and and I've addressed this in my exhibition in a very Indian context, because I think that it's a crisis, and it's very crucial that we talk about certain things within the institution of marriage in India, which are married women are more like they're silenced due to, like, the judiciary silences them, the society silences them, their friends silence them, their husbands, their in-laws silence them. So it's something that I feel like I had to do, so that these women can be heard and seen and understood, that like there are certain things that now you can talk about or relate to, you know um so I feel like when an Indian woman gets married, and this is, I'm obviously not generalizing anything, but largely I feel like when a Indian woman gets married to a man, she's not just marrying the man, she's marrying his entire family. And they kind of become an institution, and including her own parents, where she is supposed to ask to go to work. She's supposed to ask to what kind of clothes she can or she can't wear. She has to ask for money. She has to ask for freedom. She has to ask for independence. And you know, will they allow her or not? Or, you know, these things. So it's so obvious that what we're dealing with is a system, and a very patriarchal one. And there are no, so we've established that women don't have agency within, married women don't have agency when it comes to making choices for themselves. Neither do they have bodily autonomy, which leads to, you know, like when I say bodily autonomy, I would say that which leads to us talking about consent within marriages, which is completely dismissed by the society, by religions, by the judiciary. With the modern judiciary completely dismisses consent in a married life, quoting that it'll ruin the culture of India, and it'll ruin the sanctity of marriage. Then it also, there's so many issues and malpractices that are linked to this, to women not having their bodily autonomy. Like, most of Indian families pressurize the daughter-in-law or the wife to produce a male heir or a boy child. So, you know, that leads to a lot of femicide and gender side, female feticide in India, that as well.
Mm, mm.
Bodily autonomy, they would never, like, I mean, it's hard to assume never, but we wouldn't be facing such a crisis in India when it comes to gender ratio. So I would say that in so many ways, it's a direct attack on women's health. It is a direct, and plus domestic violence is not regulated at all in India. There are still laws that don't favor women, and we've seen a rise in domestic violence in the lockdown, especially. Uh, you know, and so I feel like there is, within the marriage, women is not, we have made this narrative where we're selling that marriages are safe for women, but they're absolutely not safe for women in India. You know, they're emotionally, mentally, physically harassed, in the institution of marriage. So I which is why I wanted to, like, my first ever exhibition, to talk about these issues, because I've I've been a witness, if not a victim or a survivor, sorry. So which is why I feel like I wanted to make, and the response was um very valuable for me, because there were women and there were men who cried when they came for the exhibition. A man, like a guy who came to me, was like, I had done one piece on domestic violence, and he was like, this is really triggering for me, and I apologize, I'm sorry that it's triggering for you. But he's like, no, I come from a very abusive family, so which is why this triggered a lot of emotions. There have been women married and divorced who have cried and shared their stories with me. So I feel like I'm just, I just wanted them to be heard and understood through this exhibition. So which is why, like, it was a very surreal experience for me, being a digital artist. Having a physical exhibition was very surreal, but it was, the experience I had was very worthwhile. So,
And did you phenomenal? Absolutely, big round of applause to you for this, Smish. Did you harness these voices that you heard from people who came to your exhibition? Did you collect those voices and do something with them? Um, where did you take it?
not really. Not really. I have it in my mind and I have it as experiences, but I thought, like, documenting it would be a little too much, too unorganic. Like, they organically shared their experiences. I don't know if they would have shared it on camera or on my phone. They just wanted to have, like, there was this girl who would not leave the exhibition, and she was like, I can't go back to my family. I live with this every day. So she was like not ready to leave, and she found a safe space in the exhibition where she could talk about her issues. So I was really moved by that.
Beautiful, lovely. So I mean, I was going to be asking you, what do you think is the importance of protest art, and you have given me the answer already in something like this. But I still want to hear from you that, I mean, art has many forms, and protest art in itself is a complete genre. It's a complete movement in itself. What do you have to say about that?
I would say that in these times, like we're living through some really difficult times, and I would say people are finding solace in the arts, be it making protest art, protest music, protest poetry. You know, like they have to vent somewhere. What they It's hard to process what is going on, and
Mm.
oftentimes people look towards the arts when it's very difficult. So I feel like it's great. I mean, I don't know if it's great, but I feel like it's a byproduct of the times that we're living in. It had to happen. Like it's inevitable. Like if you know, there's a reaction to it's a reaction to what is happening right now, and I feel like I don't know about like music and poetry. Yeah, I mean, I would say that it's such a non-conflicting medium. The arts is so non-conflicting that people often, if they're scared or they're not inarticulate to express themselves, they would they can easily channelize their emotions through art, and that helps them to overcome what they're feeling. That's why I would say that protest art is in India is kind of people are looking towards it to find solace and like to kind of make sense of the environment and what they're going through. It sums it up pretty well, and I think that it.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and it's lovely to hear young artists like you talking about it and taking to it and making it their medium and taking it forward. I mean, you have so many mediums to amplify it. We didn't have so many mediums to. We lived without social media. We lived in a time when we had to move physically from location to location or make those really cumbersome DVDs or VHS tapes or whatever it is that we were trying to do to be able to communicate with, you know. So I think the with the digitization and this whole digital media platforms that you have a huge world where you can amplify the voices that you're trying to
Mhm.
raise, and you're trying to protest and take it forward, the concerns that you're raising, and it's really phenomenal and very exciting. So what is it that you would like to say to young artists like yourself, if they were to consider protest art as something that they want to follow or um, use as something which will raise and center their voices? And is there anything that you'd like to tell them?
Yeah, I don't have the right answer for this, but I feel like if you start, um, if you view art as an expression, maybe it'll help. Like as an expression, when I say as an expression, is when like whatever you're feeling, try and channelize it through whatever it is. Like either it can be art, it can be poetry, it can be a song. And if you view art as an expression, and if you try and express yourself through these mediums, um, I don't know about the impact, but it surely is very therapeutic, uh, personally. And you can make sense of what is going on around you, and maybe in the long run you'll find people who can relate to it. And hear you, and your, you know, the minute you find people who can relate to what you're going through, is when, you know, it starts having an impact. uh, that is just my observation, I feel. You know, so
No, and you also have the lived experience. I mean, you just shared about the impact of Pati Patni or Woke, the exhibition that you had, and you actually were talking about lived realities which informed that exhibition. And you had some very, very real life experiences of people who came and said that you've just captured our life over there. And it is so important because we don't talk about these issues. We're like really quiet about these issues. We
yeah,
secretive about these issues, you know. And it's important that when we're talking about IPV, we have to kind of make it into a discussion, open it out in public. We have to bring it out into the open. And that's what you did with your exhibition, isn't it?
yeah, it's, I would say that, I mean, I don't know, like I feel like the society that we live in, we are, I don't want to make blanket statements, but I feel like we're very repressed when it comes to our emotions. So we don't
Yes.
really we don't have knack of sharing what we're going through. We're slowly learning it, but it, it's so much emotional repression that uh, there are certain things and topics that we don't talk about at all, which is not the case when, like, and which is why, uh, you know, we don't acknowledge it, we internalize it more and kind of find ways to live with it rather than acknowledging it and doing something. Like, I'm not saying obviously everyone can do something about it, but at least um, talking about it and in a safe space, a safe environment would, or like, I think like just acknowledging it and talking about it would end this systemic abuse that has been going on in the Indian society, on one gender specifically. So there are so many factors to it. There is this whole like log kya kahenge attitude of, you know, like people.
Absolutely. And we are actually secretive about things that are supposed to be private, you know, and anything which has to do with honor. We have so much of a burden and a baggage that we say, घर की बात घर में रहनी चाहिए, बाहर किसी को पता नहीं चलनी चाहिए.
Yeah, that's true.
So I have some comments over here which I would like to take. There's somebody here who's saying, we appreciate your work, massive respect for you. Good luck, we are with you. Keep up the good work. I love your art, love your creativity and thoughts. Salute. And then there's something, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to ask a question, but does abstract art help dealing with something either emotional or political? Do you want to take that question?
What is it?
It's saying, does abstract art help in dealing with emotional or political issue?
When I say I mean, I would say my style is not very abstract. But it is, I would say, surreal and, I don't know. I don't want to label my artwork. It changes from time, mood to mood. But you have a point there. Abstract art does. I don't create abstract art, but oftentimes what happens is that art in itself is looked upon as abstraction in India. It's not the mainstream emotion. So what I meant by abstractness was art in itself was such a alienated expression that, um, it is not considered as an expression that you um, go to when you have to deal with something. So I meant it in that sense. I don't know if I'm making sense right now, but yeah, I'm not an abstract artist, and I I, I know of artists who are abstract artists whose work also generates a lot of emotions. But yeah, for protest art, I would say, more literal when it comes to making a point or passing on a
And
message.
art in any case is political. I mean, art in any case
Yeah,
is political. It's a statement. It's a taking a position. It's an expression. So definitely it is political. It cannot be anything else. And the process of art is in any case cathartic. So it does definitely resolve a lot of emotional. It either churns up emotions or it resolves emotions. It depends on where you are in the process of making that art or viewing that art or receiving that art. There's another comment over here from somebody who's kind of, I think, responding to your IPV, the exhibition. She's saying, they asked me not to go to work, and then my husband told them she would continue to work. So that's more power to you. There's somebody here who's saying positive changes are what's lacking in this society. Um, and then there is another one here, another question. I'm pursuing law, and practically, I think the person who's a politician, they do not need any law. They can make or break it or can do anything. And with it, many activists got died. Well, we will not comment on that so much. Um, and everybody is kind of just appreciating you. Art is louder and getting heard more nowadays. We agree with that. It was always loud. It's just getting heard more right now.
that's
Um, and that is it, I think, for
what
the.
peace when so much wrong going on in the world.
Yes, mental health has taken the hardest hit right now. Systemic abuse, very well put. Somebody saying, they're great. I'm a graphic designer and I loved your work. So there you are. There's lots of people who are really appreciating you. And you think, how do you make peace with it when so much is wrong in this divided world? Okay, well, I don't know if art is meant to make peace or if art is meant to churn up more conversations and make people wake up and become a little more engaged with what is happening and move from passivity to becoming active engagements and things like that. So that is really brilliant. Smish, I'm so happy to have spoken to you. And these are conversations that we need to give more and more power to over here, because the more we talk about it, the more you speak through your art, and I can see the impact you're having already with the comments that I have here and what I've seen in your other work. So I'm going to wish you a lot of power and good luck with your work. Thank you for your conversations here.
This is really good.